Excuse me, I sneezed. Oh, I don't know why I sneezed right there, but welcome to the podcast. It is Wax's Podcast, episode 58. I feel like I just really got my radio guy voice on right there. Right after the sneeze, something promoted me, or, promoted me. Something inspired me to be a radio guy right after the sneeze. Hey, we are back. It's Wacky Wax on 106.7 The Wave FM here in Venice Beach, California. We got some old stuff, some new stuff for you. For all you couples walking on the boardwalk, we've got the Drifters with Under the Boardwalk. Those are good radio stations, man. I'm sure there's one here in LA called The Wave. Every coastal town has a radio station called The Wave. And they play stuff like, I'm sure Under the Boardwalk is probably on the Wave FM. In any coastal town in America, the song Under the Boardwalk has been like, the way top 40 radio stations do it is they have a playlist of like 30 songs that they just play on repeat all day. And since the oldies are technically, much more expansive than just what's hot right now this instant, there's years and years and decades. But they still, 1 out of every 30 songs are going to play Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters. I think it's by the Drifters. I'm pretty sure that Under the Boardwalk is by the Drifters. So yeah. Yes, welcome back. It's Wacky Wax in the morning. Drive time morning commute. I think I could have done that shit, man. How hard is it really to be an FM radio DJ? At this point, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but if you listen to like a midday show or morning show on most radio stations, it's just the same old nonsense, man. It's the same old lowest common denominator nonsense about, they pretty much go to like, there's a lot of websites like this, but for me, if I go to yahoo.com, because I'm still old school and I still have as much shit as I talk about it, I still have my Yahoo email address. Not for the podcast. The podcast email is beatsforwax@gmail.com. Can I sidetrack more? But I still have a Yahoo email address, and when I go there, they have a section of Yahoo that's all celebrity news. And, like literally when I checked my email on the front page of Yahoo, this section was saying, Jessica Simpson looks super skinny. I was like, God damn. It's not really information I need to know, but you wouldn't know that in this culture, in this society, because that's all the fucking lowest common denominator shows talk about, people like Jessica Simpson. No offense to her. People like whoever's hot right now. I don't know, Honey Boo Boo or whatever reality TV show people are watching, or even non-reality TV show, Game of Thrones, whatever. It seems like everything, House of Cards, Game of Thrones. Seems like everything is like 2 shows are 3 words, 3 one-syllable words with the word of in the middle. Hold on 1 second. That's delicious coffee. But yeah, it's just part of the dumbing down of America, All the useless information, man. It's just everything is useless, and it's just, I don't know, man. We developed this culture. I didn't mean all the shit that I've said on the podcast. The first 4 minutes, I see on the screen here that I'm just recorded for 4 minutes. I don't know what I said besides me being an FM radio DJ and them tending to talk about celebrity shit. One of the few things that I actually have written down to talk about this week is what I saw this morning. This morning I was actually driving through Beverly Hills, California this morning. And right at the intersection of Santa Monica Boulevard and Rodeo Drive, there's kind of like the whole section of Santa Monica Boulevard right there in Beverly Hills has like a park on the north side of it, kind of. Like it's all grassy knolls. Well, not knolls, grassy plains. I guess they're like miniature plains. They're flat. They're not, pretty sure knolls are like rolling hills. These are more like plains. But not expansive plains like the state of Kansas. It's like if the state of Kansas was 1/2 of a block, that's what each block of this area of Beverly Hills on Santa Monica Boulevard, right north of it, would be, with people jogging, people riding bikes, and people heading to and from work or wherever they may be going. But there was a dude out there with an enormous sign, not a homeless guy. He looked like, from afar, you might think he was a homeless guy with a sign, but the sign was abnormally large. Like Like literally like 4 feet by 4 feet. Like he was holding up a big ass fucking dry erase board. And it might have been a big ass dry erase board. But it said in really big capital letters written in Sharpie, I want to be famous. And then it had some kind of website on it. Like, it was a music website. It was like somethingmusic.com. It just said real big, I want to be famous. And he was just in Beverly Hills, you know, just waving, like showing it to people that drove by. And while I admire his hustle, you know, his dedication, I wanted to, I was going somewhere, and plus I wouldn't do this, but I wanted to, in the back of my mind, wanted to stop my car and just pull over and go up to him and talk to him. And the first thing I would have said to him was, why? He'd be like, what? It's like, you said, it says, your sign says you want to be famous. And I just wanted to ask him why. I'm not going to pontificate on what he might have said. I don't know what he would have said, but I was actually curious to why this guy wanted to be famous so bad that he would stand out there all day with a sign that says, I want to be famous, with a website so you could go check out his music. I mean, unless his music is really good, which, you know, let's be honest, most people's music is not that mind-blowing. First of all, not many people are going to fucking actually navigate to that website. Second of all, what I meant to say by that is it's actually probably more intriguing that he's standing out there with the sign than, you know, whatever kind of intrigue his music would bring into your life. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to ask him, you know, and it just made me think further about there's just this shit in our culture where people just want to be fucking famous. And it's been like that for a long time. People have always wanted to be famous. People have always like, I mean, much more like when my parents were children. But even when I was a kid, like it was cool to be in the paper. Like if your soccer team or your fucking, you know, Girl Scout troop or whatever, if you won an award from the local pizzeria or something and they put it in the local paper. I mean, even if you're in the police reports of the local paper, it was kind of cool. You were like, it was like, oh shit, I'm getting some press. I'm famous. You know, hold on, let me sip my coffee again. There's just something about it. But now I think it's different, man. I think it's like, I think that the way that famous people are worshipped is misleading, for one thing, to people that aren't famous. Because you don't really think about the fact that these people might have their 15 minutes. But most of these people, you know, after the 15 minutes is up, they're pretty fucked. People like Honey Boo Boo. I mean, even Jessica Simpson. I mean, I don't really know what the fuck she's doing right now. But, you know, people would say that her time has passed. And she's probably 30 years old. You know, like, what does she do now? I'm sure she's got money. I'm sure she has ways to make money. And I'm sure she's probably okay financially. But, you know, you still have to go on and live a fulfilling life. And, you know, like Dave Chappelle said that one time, you can always get famous, but you can't never get unfamous. So everywhere she goes, she's Jessica Simpson. I'm not saying that she hates that. I don't fucking know. I just find it interesting that everybody wants to be famous. Like, that was his thing. It's not that he wants everybody to hear his music. It's not that he wants to give his art to the world. That's not what his sign said. His sign said, I want to be famous. It's kind of like there's people in Hollywood that I've met that want to be actors, and there's people in Hollywood that want to be movie stars, just like there's people here that want to be musicians, and there's people here that want to be rock stars. And, you know, I get all of it, but it's just strange to me how people are obsessed with fame. And, you know, maybe that's something I lack. You know, maybe that's why I never became famous, because unlike some people that I run into and some people that I know, you know, I don't really have a drive to be famous, you know? I think maybe I did at one point. I did say in one of my songs I bragged, this time next year I'll be a household name. Of course, that brag didn't really come into fruition. But, you know, it was still a worthy attempt of, you know, trying to the secret, positive mental imagery, trying to see your way into the future through positive mental imagery. And you know what? I think looking back at it, granted, I'm speaking as if this were 10 years ago. That song was probably 3 years ago. And I think that I might be glad that my name is that I'm not a household name. And I think I might have came out of that shit pretty easy. Because right now, especially right now, I'm kind of enjoying my life just as a regular dude. And I think that some people that are famous, especially some people, they get famous, but they don't, if you're like next level, if you're like Jay-Z, maybe the extreme amount of money kind of makes up for it. Like the extreme fame and the extreme money makes it so you can kind of still do whatever you want because you can just shut shit down. But if you're like just super famous, then people will only remember you for that one thing, and then once the money kind of runs out, you got to go to the grocery store, and then people are like, "Oh shit, look, it's fucking." People remember you by your character and shit like that. Like that story I told many podcasts ago. I'll retell it really quickly. I smoked a blunt when I first moved to Hollywood on the corner of Hollywood and Cahuenga Boulevard with me, my friend Mark Simmons, my friend T-Rex. He wasn't smoking, but we smoked with this dude. I can't even remember his real name, but he played the character of Lamar in the Revenge of the Nerds movie. If you remember that movie, which I really don't remember it that well, but Lamar was a pretty memorable character, being that he was the only black dude in the movie, and he was like a gay dude. So this movie came out in like 1985, and the shit I'm talking about was probably 2008 or 2009. And just in the 10 minutes that we were on the street corner, at least a dozen people came up and said, "Hey, Lamar! Oh shit, Lamar!" Everybody, everywhere. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. That dude became a household name, and people don't even know his real name. And here it is, 25 years afterwards, and he can't go anywhere without people, knowing him just from the movie. I mean, I don't even know his real name right now as I'm speaking, and I was kind of with him at that moment, Not with him as in we were a couple, with him as in I was actually standing in the vicinity with him. Part of his crew, I guess, at that moment, you know what I mean? And he was talking about how he was like hosting an open mic night on Monday nights in fucking Ventura County or something. Like he was doing some like not that impressive shit, I guess, Hold on. I don't know why I got into all that, but I'm just saying people want to be famous really bad. I guess that's part of the you only live once thing. You might as well try to fucking make something interesting out of your life, but I think that some people probably regret that, especially people that had a really typecast thing, either like really big one-hit wonder type of musicians or really popular act like, Urkel, Al Bundy, I can't think of other popular sitcom. I mean, Kramer, that some things are different. Like, I mean, Kramer now is on his thing was something else, but George Costanza even like it's hard, he plays other things, but he's fucking George Costanza, and everywhere he goes, he's instantly recognizable. And I'm sure to some people that's annoying, Or like, Vanilla Ice, for example, Everywhere he goes, he probably wears a hoodie and a fucking enormous sunglasses. Probably grows a beard. And then no matter what he wears, he could wrap himself in a full mummy outfit and be like, "Look at fucking Vanilla Ice, the mummy over there, Ice, baby. Wrapped up in white fucking gauze over there. Can I sign you?" Be the other way around. I don't know. I don't really have anything. I don't really have a point to say about that guy that had the "I want to be famous" sign. It just made me think. It made me want to go ask him why. Because I understand wanting to be famous. I definitely understand wanting to be a rock star. That makes perfect sense to me. The allure of that is, unquestionable. You get to travel around the world. If you're a certain type of rock star, you get to have sex with beautiful women. Do a lot of drugs and party and just play music and everybody loves you and blah blah blah. I totally get the appeal of that. And a lot of those people that would be into that also, I'm sure, are into the music as well. That's what really drags you in, is the feeling that you get when you listen to the music. You know what I mean, man? But Hey, what the fuck do I know about anything? I had an interesting week this week. I did a lot of things. I don't even know where to start. I have like 4 things written down. One of them was I want to be famous guy. Another one of them, I'll just go into this real quick. A couple times recently, I can't remember if I talked about it on the podcast. But I did talk about it on one of them because I said that I thought it was going to be something else. A couple times in the last few months, 2 times I think, I went to get a massage. I went to this massage place pretty close to my house and got a really nice Swedish/deep tissue massage. Not really deep tissue, more like Swedish. When I say Swedish massage, if you don't know, that really means like the typical, when you think of a massage, the typical massage, you sit on the massage table and you fucking take off all your clothes and they put a little blanket on you and then they kind of rub you with oil. You know, they rub you down. It feels fucking amazing. Feels great. And last week, you know, I was thinking like, man, because you guys got to understand, I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. I'm fucking eating healthy. I'm fucking exercising, doing all these things. And it's driving me fucking crazy, man. I don't have any kind of vice. And it's like, I don't know, maybe a man should have a vice. And, you know, once these 100 days are up, I'll return to my drinking vice in moderation. As I just whistled like a person that was wearing a retainer in 2nd grade when they talked. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I don't have a vice. So if you think like, oh, damn, how many massages are you going to get? Think about it this way. It's $60 for a massage plus you tip. But it's $60, like you spend that going out to a bar on some nights. If you go out and eat sushi and drink sake or something like that, you spend that at least. So like me doing that once every month or 2 is really much less than what I would normally be spending on alcohol and cigarettes. If you combine those 2 together, I mean, fucking forget about it, you know? So anyway, last Thursday night I was like, you know what, man? I was just feeling a little tense. I was just like really kind of jonesing for anything, just to do fucking something. And, you know, probably wanted to drink. But instead, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get a massage. So I called the place I usually get a massage at. And lo and behold, you know, it was already 8:30. No, it was like 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. And they didn't have any more appointments available. So I got on my computer and quickly Googled massage in my area, because the reason I say quickly is because, you know, this place had run out of appointments. How do I know that anywhere else hadn't? Hold on. So lo and behold, I love that I've used the phrase lo and behold like at least 3 times in this podcast. Lo and behold, 4, I think. I don't know how many times, but that would have actually been 5 at least, because when I said 3, then I actually said it again before I said it again. So I do the Google search, and I find that right down the street there's a Thai massage place. Now, I'm just thinking that Thai massage is kind of like regular. I'd heard a little bit about Thai massage. I heard that it was cool, and I heard that it was different than regular massage, but I didn't know anything about it really. So I went down there. I called, and they had an appointment. I went right down there on foot, because it was that distance away where I could make the trek on foot. And walked in, you know, filled out the little form that basically essentially says, like, you know, if you die, you can't sue us, kind of deal. And the lady took me in the room, older lady, took me into this little room, and I laid down on what was kind of like a massage table if you were to take the table away and just have, like, the mattress with the... If you've never seen a massage table, it's like looks just like when you go into the doctor, except you lay down and there's a fucking airplane neck pillow looking thing, and you put your head on that so you can like lay down exactly upside down on your stomach and on your face. But your face is, you know, not being suffocated by the mattress. So there was that, except it was on the floor. And the floor was wood and the mattress was relatively thin. And Instead of starting to kind of like oil me up and rub on me, I mean, she did that a little later, but what she was doing was something different. She started to like use her elbows and use like, you know, really all the weight on her body to just fucking push on me in different kind of ways. And it might not have felt as like good in the exact moment as a Swedish massage, like that little like nice feeling you get when like your girlfriend massages you or something. It just feels like pleasant. You know, this hurt in a sense, but it felt really, really fucking good. And after a while, she stopped for a second, and then she got this thing that was like that. What the thing was a walker, like the kind of walkers that like old people use to walk. So the walker straddled my body. So like if you think about it, I'm laying on my stomach, and on my left, beside the left part of my stomach and waist, is one half of the left legs of the walker, and vice versa on the right side of me. So she has a walker, and she's walking on me. She's walking up my legs, and like digging her heels into like my butt meat. And just walking all over my back, and like as she walks, she like does shit with her feet that makes it like if you can picture your feet kind of straddling it as if you're walking on a fucking on a log, and like moving your heels downward, and like it felt crazy. And she kept on doing all this shit, and she stopped doing that, and she did some like regular kind of Swedish massage stuff too. But then at the end, she started to kind of like pick me up and twist me into different like yoga-ish positions, and like pushing on me in weird ways, and I could feel like pressure releasing from my body. Like it was weird. I'd never experienced anything like it before in the world of massage. And whole point of me telling the story is really, it's just my own recommendation to all you guys. Like, go if you have a good Thai massage place in your area, man. I heavily recommend it, because during the process it felt fantastic, but when I walked out of that place, I felt like I was floating on a cloud, man. I felt like an invisible magic carpet ride lifted me out of that place and right into a mythical fucking nirvana world of utopian immortality. I don't know. It was like, it was really nice. It was really nice. I highly recommend. The place I went to was on Abbot Kinney Boulevard in Venice, California. It was like 13. Man, I remember the address. It was 1350. It was either 1350 or 1305 Abbot Kinney Boulevard. It's a Thai massage place. It is, it's kind of in the heart of the Abbot Kinney district, which is like a shopping hipster kind of fucking district. So, if you walk in there, you pretty much know immediately that it's not like a kind of place where they jerk you off or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It could be. Maybe I just should have popped the question or whatever. I don't know. But hold on. But I wasn't even feeling that way. It wasn't an erotic experience, It was more of a transcendental experience. Oh man, erotic transcendentalism. That's something about that phrase. I don't know. That's got to be that has to have been used somewhere, but I don't know. What else do I got? I'll talk about this a little bit. The other thing I have on here is going out sober. I know I talk about being sober a lot, but you have to understand that like when I go out to bars and go out to nightclubs, things like this, I've been for a long time I've been drinking. And it's even if it's not drinking heavily and getting quote unquote drunk, if I go to a bar, I'm going to get a drink, and I'm the kind of person that if I don't have something in my hand, whether it's a water, a beer, a cigarette, or whatever it is, I think I told you before when I first quit drinking, I started eating like 10 popsicles every night. Like I was eating popsicles like the way I drink beer. And now I just kind of don't do anything. I drink a ridiculous amount of coffee, and that's about it. But yeah, this weekend was cool. I actually, Saturday night, I went and saw some friends of mine perform. I saw Anderson .Paak perform with his group, the Free Nationals. Dumbfounded performed. I actually did a song with him. And the next night I saw a friend of mine, Intuition is his rap name. He goes by Lee. I mean, he goes by Intuition. His name is Lee. And his album is out. His Twitter is twitter.com/itsintuition. The reason I said his Twitter is because I'm not exactly sure the best method of getting his album. I'm sure you can get it on iTunes, but if you get his album, it just came out literally today. I'm doing this on Tuesday the 29th. And I've heard it, and I heavily recommend heavily recommend it. And saw him perform on Sunday night, and his performance was great. The place was packed, really cool venue that I had never been to. I'd fucking love to do a show there. A place called the Lyric Theater here in Los Angeles on La Brea. I'd like to do like a month, like a small show there. When I used to do these small shows every month, I'd love to do that again and just do cool shit. But yeah, what was the point? Yeah, I guess I just want to talk a little bit about just being there. I'm just there, and I like watching the performance, but I think I've become kind of weird. I've become kind of I was talking last week about how I've become kind of an observer, and for some reason I still haven't gotten the thing down where like you go to a bar and you see people you know and you're supposed to just fucking socialize. Like for some reason now that's weird to me. Like I usually like to have a couple drinks, loosen up, and just, I feel like that's part of quote unquote partying with people. Whereas a lot of people, I think that they socialize and they quote network unquote. And I kind of don't care about that stuff. And I think it might sometimes make me look like a dick. I kind of like leave too early, I think. And people probably like, why did he just fucking rolled out pretty fast, But, that's beside the point. I don't know. Beside the point. What's that phrase? That's beside the point. I never really thought about that phrase. Like, here's the point of the conversation, and this thing is beside it. Like, it's outside of the realm of what's involved with this point. Like, it's beside it. Like, how far beside it is it? Is it? I guess that if it's close enough to the point, sort of like when you play horseshoes and you get it, in the box, or within. What is it? Oh, it's within a horseshoe length. You get 1 point. If it's touching, you get 2. It's a leaner. And if it's a ringer, you get 3. So this is when you just get 1 point. That's like if you make a comment that's kind of still there. That's not quite beside the point yet. That's like along with the point. But if you're like past the horseshoe length away from the point, that's beside the point. Yeah. So what else is going on with me? Working on some music. Been riding my bike around Venice. I kind of am. That's like my thing now. My thing is riding my bike on the paths around Venice. So if you live in this area, if you're visiting this area, and you see a really cool motherfucker ride by on a bicycle that is supposedly a hybrid between a mountain bike and a beach cruiser. I don't really know what that means, but that's what they said when I bought it. It's a gray bike. It looks normal and average. And if you see me riding on the Venice to Marina del Rey trails, that might be me that you're spying, That's all I really got to say about that. I got a bunch of questions today. Why don't we go ahead and get to that? All right. So, yeah, I have like hardly any shout-outs today because I think I've told you before. The way that I do the podcast emails is I go through them in chronological order. So I go to the last one that I had answered, and I just, go right from like, if the most recent email I got is number 1, and this is the way Gmail is set up, I go to the last email that I have not read yet. So if that's number 100 or 100, then I'd click on that, respond to that, and then go to 99, respond to that, go to 98. So right now I think I'm in the March 20-something area. And this week, there was just a bunch of things that, like, when I went through it, instead of responding and when I give somebody a shout out, it's usually somebody that emailed me and I responded to them, but I didn't read their email on the podcast. And maybe they just asked for a shout out, or maybe they're just saying what's up, or maybe they're just giving props and not requesting to have something read. But a lot of people had some interesting things for me to read on this week's podcast. So there's only a few shout-outs because all the emails I went through were just good questions. Some of them are pretty lengthy, too, so I apologize. But the only shout-outs this week are Kelvin M. in Texas, Terrell, the hockey player, and Tyler P., who recommends the band Lake Street Drive. And then, all right, Zach B. Found it. He was right. And the other kid must not have actually checked. Be sure to check it live on the podcast. I want to hear your reaction. Then shout me out. SoundCloud.com/ProjectBenz. Specifically is on podcast 24 at 2906. I should have had this queued up. You know what? It's going to take me a second to get this. But basically, this dude emailed me. If you follow the podcast, there was somebody, I believe it was, I think it was Saddam Insane, who had originally been saying that I say especially instead of especially, which is true. I've heard myself do that, and I definitely say especially instead of especially or whatever the fuck. But he was trying to say that I say pacifically instead of specifically. So homeboy here, and I'm going to call you that, Zach B., because you said Pacifically is on podcast 24 at 2906, and I fucking listened to it today, and it's not. And he told me to play it on there. So this is podcast 24. I just pulled up. All right, podcast 24. And I listened to it today, and the moment he's talking about 2906, I'm just talking to EOM, and I don't say specifically or pacifically. Let me, here, this is 2850.
Like the song, they talk about just like getting the check in the mail, like going to the mailbox.
He says 2906, which is coming up in 6 seconds. This is 290 right now, 6 seconds. I was wondering, would you say whatever you want?
Well, I did the remix, and then Wes was like, damn, and then all of a sudden,
it's already on 2912, and I've listened all around that spot. And there's, you know what? While we're doing this, let me see if this fool's emailed me back. Since I hit him back, he probably hasn't because he realized. Oh, all right. He did email me back. Okay. LOL. I don't know what this says, so I hope it doesn't say anything fucked up. LOL. I completely forgot I even sent that to you. I specifically remember getting stoned while listening to the podcast when I decided I would troll you real quick. Oh, you dick. A month later, it doesn't seem nearly as funny to me as I thought it would be. Well, it was pretty funny. I mean, sorry, but anyways, don't check it live because it is obviously not funny. I'm actually surprised you replied. That's pretty awesome of you. Well, I mean, hey, I had to respond. You know, I still haven't had anybody point out when I said pacifically instead of specifically. Fact, I am and have been a huge fan for some time. Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I caught your set in Houston, dope as fuck. I copped my girlfriend and I EOM tees, and also got you and EOM to sign a $1 bill, which I still have, and he has a picture of the Wax and EOM $2 bill. I fucking remember you, dude. I remember signing that $2 bill in Houston at Fitzgerald's. Yep. Great venue, by the way. That was one of the best shows we had on the Wintervention tour this past time. That shit was nuts. So he was just fucking trolling me. Hey, you heard it here first, last, and the second time, third time, whatever you want to fucking say. Hold on 1 second again. All right. Whatever, Zach. But I didn't check out your SoundCloud. So, you know, you guys can check it out. Maybe I'll check it out in a little while. Project Benz. You know what? How about we try something different? Let's check this shit on. Let's check this fucking trolls SoundCloud right now. And keep in mind, this is kind of fucked up because I'm just holding up the microphone to the computer. So I'm really giving him I mean, I can hear it, how it's coming out of my computer, but you're just going to hear it through the microphone. Project Benz says Zach Benz, Missouri City, United States. Let's see. His first thing is called Useless from 2014.
Tried to lock me out the house and couldn't stop me. A bunch of carbon copies, but believe that they are not me. I've been trying to bring up every member of my posse, so we don't gotta work unless the audience is watching.
Shit sounds tight.
Need to find the source before we wake up in a Tempur-Pedic coffin on the floor. And I got hollow pockets that I'm digging in, looking for change when we're all caught stuck in the rain. And it's a shame, I'm the middle class citizen, never been ignorant. And since a little kid, I've always been a little bit short on the cash and bash with tax cuts. So truth stack up. Say, truth is, I'm truthless, like two splits. Get lost up in the music, give two shits. I'm known for being useless. You can find me in the booth, getting loose like I'm proof kids. Gotta talk down about a new kid, trying to come up and get his one up. So fuck it, I'ma have to do shit. And everybody's got it mixed up. I'm trying to spit that shit that makes stiff lips kiss up. It gets real in the city I live, but you don't really gotta pity the kid. See how shitty it is to live like this. I'm 2 steps from lifeless and not affording priceless. I'm trying to formulate it all. We work to eat.
Man, that shit's fucking tight as shit, man. That's actually one of the best, I would argue that's one of the best songs that I've had somebody send to me, period. I'm not going to sit here and do this on the podcast, but I'm going to leave this up and check out some of your stuff. It's funny that I was talking about intuition earlier, because that kind of had the vibe. If you like the vibe of that song, definitely has a similar vibe to a lot of Intuition's music. That shit was dope, man. So, hey, good troll. Good fucking troll. So check that out, Project Benz, B-E-N-Z. SoundCloud.com/Project Benz. I'm going to have to go back and check that out again. All right. This one is from Eli M. What up, Mike? Figured I'd skip on the praise, and I don't have any questions or suggestions. Just one funny story I think you could relate to. So I have heard you tell your TP story a few times, and it reminded me of my own. I don't know what my TP story is. My freshman year in college, I went to the University of Arkansas in Monticello. And my second semester, I had my own private dorm with its own bathroom, which came at a price. I had to now buy my own toiletries, and as a college kid, it's not easy. So one day in my room, after eating 2 cheesy burritos, I had to take a dump, so I rushed to the bathroom to see I had no toilet paper. So me having the problem-solving abilities I have, I rushed to the nearby science building bathroom to find a surplus of cheap toilet paper. So after pooping, I loaded up on toilet paper, and for the rest of the year, the University of Arkansas at Monticello paid for my toilet paper. So I guess I have one suggestion for the college podcast listeners. Take advantage of the school's toilet paper. Sorry, that seemed a lot shorter in my head. Also, my mom is a big-time listener, and if you could give Eli's mom, Lisa, a shout-out, that'd be dope. Well, shout-out to you, Lisa. And what's she look like, man? Peace, homie. I'm just kidding, Eli. Just figured I'd read that because it has to do with shitting, and people always like things like that. And I think he's right, man. If you're gonna spend all that money for college, if you take a little bit of toilet paper, you got to do what you got to do. You probably paid for much more than you got from that university, and you probably will be paying it for a long time. So I am not mad at Eli for that. Okay, so this was one of the longer ones. This is Alex from Germany. Yo, Wax, how's it going? Alex from Germany calling in from work. LOL. 2:50 p.m., 1.5 hours ago, catching up on the podcast. Last email, you called me out for writing bad English grammar. So yeah, I didn't even learn that shit at school properly. Taught it to myself through TV series and music, so I don't give a shit. Everyone understands me. How's your German, by the way? It's not very good. My Deutsch is terrible. The only thing that I know how to say in German, God, I learned a couple things when I was over there a lot last year, but I don't retain that kind of shit, I remember stilles Wasser. Wasser mit Eis. That means, can I have some fucking still water with ice? Great stuff to know. Whatever, I have a question, a feedback to the podcast 53, and a recommendation. Question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how ridiculous do you think people are that don't take off the sparkly sticker thingies on caps/hats? Honestly, I have no idea what you guys call them. Maybe baseball caps? That's exactly what we call them. We call them both hats and caps. Baseball caps. Most people don't say baseball hats, but some people do. The sun is beating down on my baseball hat. Classic line from Ad Rock of the Beastie Boys. The sun is beating down on my baseball hat. The air is getting hot. The beer is getting flat. Looking for a girl. I ran into a guy. His name is MC8. I said howdy. He said hi. What do I think about that? I think that not a lot of people still do that, but I think the people that do, hey, I don't know what to tell them. I mean, if you wanted to ask me about fashion stuff, I would tell you that almost all of it's ridiculous, but then I would look at the clothes that I wear and realize that, I follow trends too. I wear blue jeans. I wear Vans. You know what I mean? I wear stuff that other people wear. I can't say that I've definitely never worn those hats, like the snapback. Those were originally that was originally associated with New Era fitted ball caps to leave the sticker on that had like the size on it or whatever. I never really did that. I always took it off. Or just didn't wear the hat. I don't think it's ridiculous. I mean, if you want me to say what's ridiculous, I think fashion in general is ridiculous. I think life in general is ridiculous and absurd. So it's hard for me to even answer that. So I can't justify that. If you want to wear the fucking thing on your hat, if you want, what I'm saying, do whatever you want to your hat. All right. What you said about the mad lines in rap and that most people don't notice that kind of shit, that is shit that cut me off in the middle of the thing. Pro Tools error, the same error that I complained about last week when I was talking about the error that I had was complaining about last week. What you said about the mad lines in rap and that most people don't notice that kind of shit, is so sad but true. I don't follow that many U.S. rap, but here in Germany, there are so many fucking people going crazy over a song just because it has some kind of a catchy hook. The verses are utter garbage, completely whack, and this stuff goes through the roof. The really good music is just not for the masses, and so the artists have a hard time. I don't want to be mean now, but you probably know that Rosanna was pretty popular in Germany last year, right? I could bet you $1,000 that the most people didn't even understand a word in the song. They liked it because the beat and the hook were good. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from that song, but I hope you understand what I mean. You don't necessarily have to write good lyrics to have success with music, and that saddens me. I love Rosanna, man, great song, but I know my Germans, they understand nothing and don't even care. And for a recommendation, since you liked the 2 songs I recommended you last time, I thought I'd dig deeper in the German rap history books and present to you the, quote, king of German rap, unquote, up until today. Give him a shot. He has mad skills and is a nice guy. His name is Cool Savas. And here's a little, while we're doing it, damn, this just got 7 million views. I've seen this before. I've definitely seen this before. I met a bunch of people that showed me German rap stuff when I was there.
Rapper denken, sie wären fett, jedoch mein Flow ist ein Wässer, nicht spit ein Vielfaches fresher als jedes Kind des Rap. Bring euch dazu zu sagen, DJ, bring that back. Und immer wenn ich was release, seid ihr Hater irritiert, denn ihr wisst es, ich hab diesen brand new flavor, yeah. SAV, Akte X, Powerpo wie Asterix, LMS die Übersetzung, suck mal dick. Doch sagt man nix, ich kombiniere die Lines wie Sudoku und keep them shook crews running like they supposed to. Diese Spinner sind Hohldeck.
Yeah, what's cool, that song has and he did it with the video too, but like it constantly has like old rap songs that he kind of he incorporated with his lyrics, and you can see him doing like a performance shot in the video, and it will cut to DMX, or I think that was Prodigy from Mobb Deep just now. But yeah, that shit is dope. As far as people not writing the greatest lyrics and songs getting big because they have a catchy hook, I mean, man, that's really nothing new. Pop music has always been like that. Pop music's for everybody, So songs, for example, Rosanna, since you brought that one up, the chorus sounds like a children's song, So people love that kind of thing. And, there was a lot of popular... In Germany, I would argue that it was even more like that because of what you said. There's songs in the top 10 in Germany that are in German, songs in Spanish, songs in English. And the biggest ones have choruses that are like just O's and A's or something really easy to sing. And just, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but what was interesting to me about the song Rosanna is all the times I was over there in Germany and somebody recognized me, they would never say, I mean, some people did say like, hey, you're that guy who sings Rosanna. More people would say, hey, aren't you the guy that sings that Untouchable song? If you don't know that song, it goes, she is untouchable. Like that part was almost a bigger hook for them than the actual hook. That was kind of like the pre-chorus or whatever. So, I mean, what can you do, man? Like, that's kind of how it's always been. I mean, take all those big songs in the 50s, all the biggest rock songs. What's a bit? Keep on rocking in the free world. Name any other part of that song. Or like, what was the song I heard somebody say? You can't always get what you want. Like, sing another part of that song. Sing the verses. Like, no, nobody gave a fuck back then either. It's always about a catchy hook. So, it's great when it's great when there's a little bit of everything, and a lot of people have that. I remember that's why a lot of take people that take Eminem or Lupe Fiasco, who are examples of people that have huge pop rap songs that have pretty crazy stuff in the verses. But, even in the case of those people, and I'm a rapper myself, I pick up on a lot of shit. But, like, if that new song by Eminem with Rihanna that has monsters inside of my bed, I couldn't name you one fucking thing that Eminem said. He raps like 3 verses. I don't know what he said. Or if you say, what was that one that Lupe Fiasco, his big hit? If you are what you say you are, fresh, cool, young Luke. That's the only thing I could tell you he said, But it's always the hook, man. That's no different. And it's great when somebody does rap some cool shit in it. And I've always thought that people slept on the verses of Rosanna. I've always thought people slept on the cleverness, but that's not a surprise to me, man. Let's be real, Alex. Just like what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, most people just want to see somebody get kicked in the balls. Most people think things that are not that clever are extremely clever. So if you start taking things to the next level of cleverness, which I feel in some cases I did in some of my older songs, most people are just going to fucking walk away because they don't feel like fucking doing work in their head to understand it. You know what I mean? And I get it. Most people, you want the cleverness to be easy, But I appreciate the email, Alex. All right. Hey, Wax, Mike, whatever. Daniel from Oslo, Norway here. I hope I got the right email from the podcast, so here goes. I've been listening to your music for some time now, and I dig the lyrics. You're one of the inspirations for me to start writing a bit myself. Well, that's awesome. I can't sing or rap for shit and own no musical ability. But I like to think that I can write half decent. The people I've showed some stuff to says it's good as well. So that leads me to a question or two. Since I'm no musical prodigy at all, what can I do with my lyrics to get them out there and maybe even made, given they're good enough? I got a couple songs written, not long ones, but it's something. I sadly got no melodies, but they have somewhat of a rhythm to them. Is there any place to post them up where musicians can pick them up in a legit way? Feeling like an ass to ask. But maybe even you'd like to take a look at them. No strings attached. Cheers, man. Peace and keep doing what you do. And come to Norway, yo. Well, Daniel from Oslo, what I would recommend, dude, is I think that what you should do is you should find somebody who has the opposite talent as you. What happens a lot, actually, in music is that people find each other and they form bands or they form writing teams, even from back in the day. I know of people that have worked in Broadway musicals, and the way it always works is like there's somebody that writes the music and somebody that writes the lyrics. There's always people. Some people are just really good with lyrics, and some people are really good with melodies. Some people are good with chord changes. And then you got some people that are just really good at certain instruments, and some people that are really good at adding background strings and bringing things to life. And just everybody's good at different things, That's why some people click and some people don't, Like two people that usually write the lead melody. Why put them together? Because then it's just it could possibly create a conflict between them if they disagree with things. It's better if they're with somebody that's like, the opposite of them, that complements them, that completes them. So you need to find your dude. You need to find somebody that you can take your lyrics to. I remember, like with the old Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary about when they did Blood Sugar Sex Magic, that album, and Rick Rubin found a poem that Anthony Kiedis had written. Anthony Kiedis didn't mean for anybody to find it. It was just on a piece of paper in a box or in a notebook or something. And that poem was Under the Bridge. And look at it now. One of the biggest songs of our modern times. And it wasn't even supposed to be a song, you know. So he found some people. Those people were a combination of Rick Rubin and the rest of the people in his band. And, you know, the Chili Peppers are actually a really good example of that. You know, Anthony Kiedis is no musical prodigy. But Flea arguably is, and then even John Frusciante is quite an excellent songwriter, and just together they form this unit that makes a really individual-sounding thing. So, you know, you just got to find people to compliment you. All right, this one's from Curtis A. Hey, Wax. This is going to be a relatively long email question. If you could take the time and give me your feedback, I would greatly appreciate it. I wanted to ask you a question because you're a person who didn't follow the traditional path of, quote, go to college and get a standard 9-to-5 job, unquote. I actually did. Let me finish. I'm currently in college and I'm about to graduate with a psychology degree. I'm a good student, 3.85 GPA, Dean's List, President's List. I'm going to class and regurgitating material I'm good at going to class and regurgitating material spoken at me by a professor. I was good at that too. I've applied to several graduate schools, and I thought that was going to be my path. However, as I progress through the higher education system, I become more and more bitter, and I start to feel more like a sheep in the herd. You get where I'm going with this. My passion is fitness and strength. I've been lifting weights since I was 13. I'm almost 22 now, and in that span, I've learned a lot. For me, lifting weights is almost spiritual. I understand that. It has changed me as a person. In my free time, I don't find myself looking up psychology articles. I find myself looking up fitness theory and philosophy. The people around me don't seem to think of personal training or being a strength coach as a career option. Well, fuck them. They're stupid. They see it as a hobby. That sounded really mean to say they're stupid. They're not necessarily stupid, but, I mean, you know, no offense, but it's not like psychology is like, you know, the greatest psychology, then grad school for psychology isn't necessarily the greatest thing either, you know? What is a viable career option? Who can even define that? You know what I'm saying? But if you said, then his next sentence was they see it as a hobby. Now, personal trainers can make a lot of money, B, they're doing what they love, and C, it's what you love. You know, I don't know how much training you've done. You need to, like, really get into the actual training aspect of it because even if you know how, I mean, you fucking know, dude. You know a lot more about it than I do. You've been lifting weights since you were 13, but I'm just saying that personal training, there's an educational aspect of it you have to perfect too. So it's actually really good that you have this psychology degree because you probably are relatively in tune with communicating with people and knowing what people are all about, blah, blah, blah. My main question is what made you keep pursuing a career in music even when you were at your lowest or when all bets were against you? What do you think of my situation? If you could read this on the podcast, I think it would help a lot of people out there trying to follow their passion. Thanks for reading this. You got this far, and thanks for the great music. Well, let me tell you something. Curtis, I didn't fucking pursue music straight out of high school. I went to college. I have a college degree. I had many 9-to-5 jobs, and you know, I tried to quit doing music, and I just fucking couldn't. So I kind of like ended up in it, you know, later in life. I didn't just I'm not one of those dudes that was like, yo, no plan B, man. Right out of high school, all I'm doing is being in the studio and blah, blah, blah. I went to college like regular Joe. I thought that's what you do after high school. So I went there. I have a degree in political science. And I, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I learned a lot in college. It was a good place to be. I grew as a person, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing that you'll learn as your life goes by is like it's never too late, and B, it's really hard to predict what you're gonna do, and it's like you don't have to do everything immediately. You know, I would say that if you're questioning your career path, I would be weary of going to graduate school and I'm assuming getting yourself into even more debt. Because that shit does come back to haunt you. And if you're into personal training, man, you could start doing that. If you can get clients, I don't know where you live, but if you can get clients and then build your base. And if you start killing it, people keep coming to you. And I think the people that I've seen, because I have some friends that do it, like if you know my boy Casey Chan that did a bunch of our videos, he works for this company, Just Kidding Films. They're fucking hilarious. You should check them out. But one of the main dudes, Bart, you know, he's a fucking workout type dude, and now he owns his own gym. So you know, if you that could be a goal to have, you know, and you could probably make more doing that and forget the money. You know, it's not the money. It's as long as you make enough to have food on the table and all that, whatever you know, it depends what you want. Everybody desires a different level of lifestyle and luxury and shit. But as long as you have what you want and have what you need, it's really more valuable and more important that you're doing something rewarding and doing something that you love, you know? So I don't see why people around you would tell you that personal training is some bullshit to go into. That's a very good career option in my opinion. And I think that it's getting nothing but more and more popular. People are only getting more and more into being healthy as time goes on. So, yeah, you know, like I said earlier, they're obsessed with celebrities and everybody is obsessed with looking good, you know, hence why Jessica Simpson being skinny was somehow front page news on my Yahoo account today. So, I don't know I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you whether to go to grad school or not. But, you know, I can't tell you, I can't sit here and tell you that I'm that guy that, like, went for it all, you know. I kind of, like, bowed down to it after a while and kind of lucked out after doing some YouTube videos for fun that I ended up able to make a living doing it. And I need to get the fuck back on making YouTube videos because I've been slacking like a biatch. But hopefully that'll happen soon. I got some ideas and shit. All right, this is from Anthony from outside of Detroit, Michigan. Hey, Wax, I like the podcast. Very entertaining stuff most of the time. You rarely get to know an artist to this degree unless they ramble in front of a mic for an hour. I have a few suggestions and recommendations. When I saw Herbal Tea and yourself with guitars in front of a mic ready to record the podcast on your Instagram, I assumed you were going to perform some music. I was disappointed when I didn't hear any. You guys should definitely play some live music on the podcast for the listeners. Studio quality live performances are the best. I would also like to recommend my cousin's band, Team Cabin. It's an instrumental band that has an early 2000 punk rock feel, in my opinion. It's really good, and you should tell the podcast listeners to listen to his music. It's teamcabin.bandcamp.com or facebook.com/teamcabin. And it's just cool. I only heard the one track, but the track I heard was cool, so you guys should check that out. It would be great if you would like his Facebook page and listen to his Bandcamp. So yeah, that's from Anthony from outside of Detroit, Michigan. I appreciate the recommendation. I should do more live performances on here. I don't know why. I just don't do that. But I will try to start doing that, especially when I have guests such as my brother on. All right, one more letter. This one is from Sad Ryan. This is a relationship type of one. Hey, dude. Love your tunes and your outlook on life. I found out 2 days ago that my girlfriend and a dude she met at work training in Texas have been sending naked pictures to each other for a few months. I confronted her about it and she tried to deny it, but eventually fessed up. She's really sorry and all that bullshit, but what should I do? Thanks. Hold on one second, man. I gotta take a sip of this water. All right. What should I do? Thanks in advance, man. Love the podcast. Sad Ryan. Well, Ryan, I'm sorry you're sad. Oh, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I got some kind of allergies or something. So let's get this straight. 2 days ago, I found out that for a couple months, his girl went to a training thing in Texas. And now for a couple months, she's been sending him naked pictures. And she's sorry. First of all, Ryan, that means she fucked the dude in Texas. If she didn't fuck the dude, she came close to fucking the dude. Or even worse, she fell in love with the dude, and they've been sending each other naked pictures back and forth in anticipation for the time they meet next when they will have sex. If she's been doing it for months, I don't have any other background on your relationship. I don't know how long you've been together. I don't know how much you love this girl or whatever, but, from where I'm sitting, I mean, that shit is done to me, A few months, dude, like, I mean, yeah, she's sorry, but, I'd need more information, Ryan, but to me, that relationship is done. Because I ain't no sucker. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the women folk, it's almost sad the way that I am personally now, because I had 2 long-ass relationships, and then I've recently had one kind of long, on and off, weird one. And I don't know, I think at this point, 2 of them I was just so broken up, and the third one, like, it's just so weird, and now I don't have no fucking remorse. It seems like it may be in the future. It may be almost damn near impossible for me to like fall in love with a chick, because I'm just kind of I don't know. It would take an act of God for a woman to make me fall in love with her, because I'm so non-trusting, and stories like yours, Ryan, make it even more so. And I know of girls that would maybe fuck with me that have a boyfriend. You know what I mean? So, isn't there a song that's popular right now called "These Hoes Ain't Loyal"? I think there's got to be something like that, man. God, I can't imagine what the divorce rate is going to be when this generation grows up. Nobody's going to give a fuck anymore, man. Everything is just, let's be celebrities and let's fuck each other and turn up, I guess it's always been like that, I don't even really know exactly where I'm getting at with that point, but maybe you do. And that's it. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry that you're sad. And I hope that one day you turn into Glad Ryan. All right, that's all I got, y'all. I'll see you guys next week. Be safe out there.